12-year-old Kelan always believed the ocean could talk. Most people laughed when he said it. His mother, who worked long shifts at the clinic, would smile gently and say he just had a wild imagination. His older brother, Jaden, always teased him for being the weird one. But Kelan didn't mind. Because when he sat alone near the jagged rocks of Grayhart Coast, he heard the waves whisper. Not random, chaotic sounds, actual stories. Stories of storms and sailors, ships that vanished, places hidden beneath the surface. And always, every whisper ended the same way. When the lighthouse goes dark, the gate will open. But the Grayhart Lighthouse had never gone dark. In 130 years, its beam had been steady, sweeping across the sea every 12 seconds. To the people of Grayhart, it was just a lighthouse. To Kelan, it was a heartbeat. A constant, comforting pulse in the night. The lighthouse keeper, old Mr. Arden, lived alone in the tower. He walked with a limp, rarely spoke, and always carried a strange brass key around his neck. Most kids thought he was simply grumpy. But Kelan saw something else in his eyes whenever he stared at the ocean. Fear. He watched the sea the way a man watches something that has tried to kill him before. Then came the night everything changed. A storm arrived without warning. Not a typical storm, this one felt alive. The sky turned bruised and violent. The wind roared like a creature unleashed. Waves hammered the cliffs hard enough to shake houses. Fishermen pulled their boats ashore in panic. The town lost power within minutes. Inside their little home, Kelan sat with his mother and brother in flickering candlelight. His mother tried to comfort them, but she kept looking nervously at her powerless radio. Kelan wasn't listening. The waves weren't whispering anymore. They were screaming. He rushed to the window just in time to see the impossible happen. Across the cliff, through the storm, the Grayhart Lighthouse, the one thing that never failed, never flickered, went completely dark. For the first time in his life, Kelan didn't hear the ocean telling a story. He heard it calling his name. Before anyone could stop him, he grabbed his raincoat and slipped out into the storm. Wind almost knocked him off his feet. Rain stung his face like needles. The cliffs were dangerously slick. But he kept going. Something stronger than fear pulled him forward. He reached the lighthouse door and pounded on it with wet fists. Mr. Arden. Are you in there? The door opened slowly. Mr. Arden stood there soaking, trembling, eyes sunken and full of dread. You shouldn't be here, Kelan. What happened to the light? The storm, Arden whispered. Or something worse. The lighthouse shook violently. Tools rattled. Something groaned beneath the earth, deep, ancient, unnatural. Arden grabbed Kelan by the shoulders. You must listen. When the light goes dark, the deep gate begins to stir. The deep gate? What is? No time. Arden snapped. Come. They rushed up the spiral staircase. The higher they climbed, the colder it became. The storm felt far away now. Instead, another sound rose from below. A low, rhythmic rumble. Like footsteps coming from the deep ocean. At the top, the lantern room was a wreck. The great crystal lens was cracked. Brass gears were scattered across the floor. The main lamp was cold. Something had destroyed it, and not wind. Long claw marks were scratched into the metal floor. It's begun, Arden whispered. A gate caller is here. Before Kelan could ask what that meant, a heavy thud echoed from the stairs. Then another. Something was climbing up the tower. Arden dragged Kelan behind a metal cabinet. They crouched, barely breathing. A huge shadow stretched across the wall. A dripping hand gripped the railing, wet, jointed, too long to be human. Seaweed hung from its knuckles like veins. The creature stepped into the room. Its glowing blue eyes scanned the darkness. Its skin shimmered like water over rock. It moved with slow, unsettling grace. It approached the broken lantern, touched it gently, almost lovingly. "It wants the light to stay out," Arden whispered. "It's one of the creatures that guard the deep gate. They fear the lighthouse. It keeps the gate closed." The creature stiffened. It sensed them. Its head snapped toward their hiding place. "Run," Arden whispered. The monster let out a watery roar and charged. Arden shoved Kelan toward the stairs. "Go." Kelan bolted down the steps. The creature slammed into Arden. The old man held the metal hatch shut with all his strength. "Kelan. The seal room. Below. Hurry." "But you." "Go." Kelan ran until the echoes of the struggle faded. At the bottom of the lighthouse he found a hidden stone archway behind crates. Strange glowing lines formed a symbol, a circle with 3 intersecting paths. The same symbol the waves had shown him in dreams. He used Arden's dropped brass key. The door opened. Inside was an ancient chamber of stone. At its center stood a pedestal holding a glowing orb within a brass cage. The light flickered weakly, like a dying heartbeat. Kelan felt something from it. Warmth. Life. Fear. The floor vibrated. Beneath the lighthouse, something massive moved under the sea. Kelan touched the orb. A voice filled the chamber. Not a human voice. The sea itself spoke. "Child of the tide. The gate stirs. The seal weakens. Restore the light." Kelan staggered. "How?" "The lamp is broken. I don't know how to fix anything." "The flame responds not to metal," the ocean whispered. "Nor to oil or electricity." "Then how?" "It responds to the heart that calls it." "My heart." "You hear the sea," the voice said. "You were born with the mark. Restore the flame." Kelan swallowed hard. He didn't know what power he had. But he knew the world needed the lighthouse to shine. He placed his hands on the orb and closed his eyes. He thought of his mother. His brother. The town. The lighthouse beam sweeping across the dark waves. And the ocean, his strange, eternal friend. Something glowed inside his chest. A spark. He pushed it into the orb. Light burst outward like an explosion. It shot through hidden channels in the walls. The lighthouse trembled. He heard gears turning above, metal realigning, glass healing. The lantern relit itself. A brilliant blue beam shot into the sky, stronger than ever. The rumbling beneath the sea stopped. The deep gate sealed shut. When Kelan reached the lantern room again, dawn was rising. The storm had disappeared. The sea was calm, almost gentle. The gate-caller creature was gone. Mr. Arden lay on the ground, bruised but alive. Kelan rushed to him. "You're okay." Arden exhaled painfully. "The light, it's shining again." "Yes. We fixed it." Arden stared at him with something like awe. "No, Kelan. You fixed it. The sea chose you." In the weeks that followed, Grayhart went back to normal. But everyone noticed the lighthouse beam had changed. It was bluer now. Warmer. People said it felt almost alive. Arden retired shortly after. To everyone's surprise, he named Kelan as his successor, the youngest assistant lighthouse keeper in coastal history. "The sea speaks to you," Arden told him. "And you speak back. The lighthouse needs someone like you." And so, Kelan spent his nights tending the flame, watching the tides, listening. Sometimes the ocean whispered stories. Sometimes it was silent. But every so often, just before dawn, when the air was coldest and the world was most still, he heard a voice from the deep. "Child of the tide, we will meet again." Kelan would stand at the cliff's edge, staring at the endless water, wondering what else waited beyond the deep gate. And knowing, without a doubt, the sea had only told him the first chapter of his destiny.